Welcome to We Did a Podcast. We're excited to have you here listening, having your ears here, ready to hear what we're going to be talking about.
Right here.
Right here.
Right now.
As usual, I'm David.
I am Franklin. Frank.
You've introduced yourself as Franklin every time we've done the podcast.
You guys have gotten into my head.
I know. So Franklin didn't like going by Franklin. Because his name is actually Frank. Like on the certificate, it's Frank, right?
Just Frank.
Yeah, not Francisco, just Frank.
Or like Franktober, something weird like that.
Franktober?
Yeah.
That would be weird. But now it's forever Franklin.
Forever Franklin.
Forever Franklin.
If I start a clothing line, that's what it's going to be called.
Today we have a new segment for you guys. We're going to be doing something called the Couch Co-op Convo. I'm going to see if I can mess that up a few times throughout the recording. But what we're
Plenty
going to
of
be
opportunities,
doing,
I'm sure.
So many opportunities. We're going to be talking about co-op games. Games that are particularly co-op. And
as opposed to just a little bit co-op?
No, well, like what I guess I'm trying to say is there's two-player games that aren't co-op.
Yeah, I guess they are like a versus, if you will.
Yeah, like we're not going to do Street Fighter 2.
No.
If Street Fighter 2 had a co-op mode, maybe, but it doesn't. But they're redoing it, so maybe it will. I don't know. Anyways, the point I'm trying to get at is we're going to be doing exclusively co-op games, but even more specific, couch co-op games.
Yes,
So
the games that we can play right next to each other in the flesh. No internet connection required.
Yeah. Something that I think, well, my opinion's kind of changed on a little bit, and this is kind of getting into the topic today, but during the last set of consoles, PS3, 360, I felt like there wasn't a lot of couch co-op games.
No, definitely not.
Particularly
outside the realm of like the arcade games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's really where it was at. Whereas like if you go before that, you know, GameCube, Xbox, PS2, I mean, live gaming wasn't, like online gaming wasn't as big yet. So if you had something co-op, it was couch co-op. It was amazing.
That was the only kind.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I think the PS4 does an awesome job with some couch co-op, which we're going to try this out for a few segments, see how it goes, and if it goes well, we'll do more, but we're probably going to do just PS4 games for a while.
For a minute.
That way I can add in some video footage. I don't have a capture card, but the PS4 itself is a capture card. So
how convenient.
How convenient indeed, PS4.
Our listeners can be viewers.
They can be viewers now. How exciting. We're transitioning, guys. So when we cut this thing up, we'll have a segment specifically of the Gauntlet review, and hopefully we have some sweet, sweet gameplay footage in there to help you get a better idea of what you think. Did I just say what the game was? I think I just did.
You did. You just dropped the bomb.
Okay, so spoiler alert. Today we're going to be talking about Gauntlet for PS4, which is a few years old now. Not Gauntlet from like 1980, whatever, but Gauntlet for PlayStation 4.
The newest, most current edition.
Yes. Gauntlet HD. It's not called that, but it should be. Well, Frank, you know, why don't you start us off? Why don't you give us give us a rundown? What do you think?
All right, so Gauntlet is a co-op beat 'em up adventure game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, you just run through the levels, you beat up the bad guys, you kill the bad guy spawners, you get some gold.
Get some gold.
All the gold.
Shoot some food if you can.
Yeah, you know, some people say don't shoot the food. I say, you know, I didn't exactly see the food there, so what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah, I play as the elf. There are a few characters you can select from. David always plays as the wizard. Michelle, David's fiance, usually plays as the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own kind of attributes. The wizard obviously does a bunch of magic spells. Mm-hmm. As the elf, I just run around shooting at everything, so some food gets shot in the process. I mean, I'm just pretty much flinging arrows the entire time, even before there's baddies.
Yeah, you used both sticks for the elf.
Yeah,
most of the characters is like a twin stick kind of thing, and Frank just shoots everything.
All
the boxes, all the torches.
Everything gets shot.
I can't blame him. I do the same thing with the wizard fireballs. I'm just tossing them at there.
Yes.
I kind of like that you're getting into the characters a bit, because to me, that's almost what makes this game a little bit special. It's easy to make a game like this and for it to be really boring and kind of, I don't know, like it loses interest really quick.
Yeah.
in Gauntlet, there's 4 characters. There's the ones Frank is already talking about, and also the Warrior.
Warrior.
He is sort of the tankier character. A lot of health, does close range damage.
Just sitting up there, just slamming bad guys in the face.
Yeah, big old battle axe if you choose. What's cool about the characters, though, is that they each play differently, and even like, I mean, it's to a pretty big degree. They each have different roles.
Yeah, everybody has their own job.
Yeah. The elf, for instance, rolls, like literally rolls.
Hope.
Other kind of rolls.
Bah!
That's exactly what they say over and over again. He rolls. He has long distance attacks. There's something else that the elf can do. He has like a power shot that he can shoot.
Yeah, I can shoot bombs to the other side. That's kind of nice when we have a big group of just like grunts running around and take care of that group of grunts real good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the elf's basically a support character. I like watch everybody's backs and make sure baddies don't get too close and nobody gets too overwhelmed as I just run around and shoot everything.
Yeah, with the 4 people, it's really split into 2. There's like 2 offensive, like front of the line characters, the Warrior and the Valkyrie. And the elf and the wizard are both defensive kind of secondary characters supporting the other ones. The Valkyrie's got a shield. Which I've actually never played as Valkyrie. I've just seen Michelle plays Valkyrie.
And I don't think she uses her shield at all.
She doesn't use a shield at all. The Warrior doesn't have a shield, but he has a lot of like special attacks that you can use.
And a whole lot of health.
And the thing too is, well, the Wizard, the reason I like the Wizard, I think he's kind of like, he's got a lot of to him. You kind of have 3 separate spell books. And there's a square spell book, a triangle spell book, and a circle spell book. And when you're doing your spells, you have like the combination of 3 involving any one key. So you could do square square, and that's a different spell. Or you can press square triangle, that's a spell. Square circle, that's a spell. And every spell input is 2 keys, so you press any of the 2 of them. Or you could do like circle square, the opposite, and it's a different spell. So really there's 9 spells that you can have. And with each character there's stuff that you buy. And like what does the elf buy? He buys different bows, or what is it that he gets?
The elf has some different bows. The bows each have a different attack to them. Like the main set you get, it's really just one like long shot that does a lot of damage, and then the bomb shot. I recently just upgraded to where your bomb shot is more of a lob, so you can lob it further distances to like the other side of the level.
Okay,
which
cool.
it has taken some getting used to, honestly. How long do you think we've been playing this version of Gauntlet for? Maybe like 2-3 years at least?
Yeah, we've been playing it on and off. I would say we have at least 30 hours in the game, like 30 or 40 hours.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I wouldn't be surprised.
And just for the record, I mean, we've beaten it.
We have.
We're beating it. We're running through it. And what's their hard mode called?
I think it's just hard. I could be wrong. So there's like 3 difficulty modes. We beat it on normal. It's probably like 20 levels or something like that. It's not a lot of levels, but it's a pretty good amount.
Yeah, plenty of opportunities to get stuck and frustrated.
Yeah, right. A couple of boss fights in there too, which it's as hard as you want it to be, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Like if you put it on hard mode, you're gonna have a tough time.
Mm-hmm.
Even with I really stress this. If you're playing it on hard mode, you need at least 4 people.
Dude, we've been handling it with 3 pretty well.
Yeah, but I think when we get to the final boss, it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
because we got through all of normal, and the last boss was tough with 3 people. It was
bad.
I think also.
Oh, I really hope we caught that train.
I hope we caught the train too. That train's just always.
I love the train sound.
Yeah. Sorry, I got totally thrown off track. Hard mode's pretty tough. Along with that, because every, like you were saying, every character has like different upgradable weapons. The Valkyrie gets different shield, sword combos.
Even like your relic and your stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's more to it too, because like on top of that, everyone gets a relic, which is what your, it's like a special ability that you can upgrade to like 3 ranks, and I think there's like 12 of them, and you can pick any one you want for any character.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, we all have the same option of the same relics.
Yeah, that doesn't change between the character, which is really cool. And they are all like very different. Some of them bring like little monsters to fight in with you. Some of them are like speed related, health related. And then you also have the amulet, which changes what your magic is.
Yeah.
So you find the little blue potion vial. you can have like up to 3 different choices, and those are different for each character.
Yeah.
So that's pretty. I mean, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of like customization. There's a lot of stuff you buy, and then the amount of gold you need to buy all that stuff is pretty steep. So that's kind of where the replay part comes in. And then on top of that, there's a bunch of aesthetic things too. Like you can buy different heads, different bodies, and those are really like,
even as far as like earning our capes in the daily challenge.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the cave thing. Well, why don't you tell us what the daily challenge is, man?
So the daily challenge is a level that changes every day. It's a new level every day.
Isn't it weekly?
Is it weekly?
No, I'm just joking.
I was going to say they should call it the weekly challenge. I was about to get real upset. It's like, what? I gotta write a letter right now. Just stop the podcast so I can go write an angry letter. Almost got a spit take out of you. Almost.
I was halfway through that coffee.
But yeah, the daily challenge, it is a chore usually.
Yeah, it really is.
Real tough. We played so many of them before we beat our first one.
Yeah.
But when you win, everybody gets 10,000 gold.
Yeah, which is a pretty good amount. I mean, to put it in perspective, you go through a level on normal or hard, you're probably going to get like, I mean, if someone's not being super greedy and just taking everything, if you don't have one of those guys in the party, everyone will probably get like 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah.
So to get the 10,000,
if you're really putting in the work and rolling in before everyone, you can get like 7.
Yeah. And the cool thing about the daily challenge is it's procedurally generated.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure at a certain point they kind of repeat or look similar, but the spawners are different. There's a ton of different kinds of enemy spawners.
Little obstacles that get in the way and create choke points.
They're traps, which you can use to your advantage if you're using the pressure sensors right. And it's very difficult.
It really is. They do a really good job of making it a challenge.
Yeah, it's harder than hard mode.
Oh, definitely.
For sure. So
hard mode is how we warm up for the challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Beat a couple hard mode levels and then try the challenge. And then you get a cape, which there's a page of capes during your character customization thing. And there's like, I don't know, 20 of them?
It seems like there's quite a few. I think we have like 2 or 3.
There's a lot of, we have like 2 or 3. And we've tried maybe like 40 daily challenges.
So many times.
It's 7 waves. So you're in this one room, you do like a wave, and then you just keep going, And it's really heartbreaking when you get to like wave 6 and you're like, okay, guys, there's no way we're going to do this.
Yeah, one of the, there's the food you get to replenish your health, which is super limited in the daily challenge.
It's like maybe
especially when you have me around just shooting them off the get-go.
And they're always visible too, so it's like
really are.
You're running all over this map, you're going to shoot the food.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah. It's so hard not to. But one of the benefits you get is you can earn another life and another respawn just by killing a certain amount of enemies, which is nice, but it's like in the daily challenge, you're not just going to have like a wealth of enemies. Like when we're playing story mode, so every now and then you'll get like an egg sack and we'll sit there and farm lives, even though we found out that it's not a super great way to farm lives.
Really
it takes so long.
And he's talking about the spiders. There's these little baby spiders.
Tiny little spiders. Not the big ones. Not the big guys.
Depending on how hard the enemy is, depends on how much that little bar fills up. It tells you how much you can spawn the next guy.
And I mean, they're tiny little baby spiders. So what are you going to do?
They're little babies. They don't do anything.
No, they do nothing.
That's a really bad tactic, actually. Don't do that. That's our tip for Gauntlet.
Yeah, definitely.
Just go, maybe leave one monster spawner, like a regular spawner, and kill all those guys.
You know, we should have thought of that.
Yeah. This is hypothetical. We haven't tried it yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be better, so we'll see how it works out.
Should work out. But yeah, that's another way to keep the game going, you know what I mean? There's been plenty of times where we've been down to like last man standing, and the 2 of us are there just cheering you on, like, come on, just kill like 5 more of them. You're almost there, and I'm back.
Yeah.
Oh crap, I died again.
Outright. Just get like 16 more. Yeah, it's rough. It can be really rough. I think I think other than that, there's one other game mode which we haven't had too much experience in, but there's an endless mode, which also gets into like it being procedurally generated, where it's like dungeons that always change. And there's like some pretty sweet trophies too. If you're trying to get some trophies, you get to level 50, I think, and that's like getting the silver trophy or whatever it is.
Oh wow!
It's essentially beating endless mode. But it's a good way to just grind gold.
Yeah. We're going to have to give that a shot.
Yeah, we need to.
I got some stuff I'm looking at buying. I just dropped some money and I have like
I need
1,200 gold right now.
We should give it a shot. I think there's a trophy at 25 and 50, so I'm excited to give it a shot. I need some trophies.
I'm actually really glad that we're trying to get gameplay footage after this because it's just a really good excuse to like play some Gauntlet when we're done. I'm so excited about it.
Since I'm chatting about trophies, though, I do want to, because I enjoy getting trophies in games. I feel like sometimes you look at the list when you start and you're like, there's no way I'm going to get these trophies.
I feel like you're underselling how much you appreciate
I love trophies,
yeah.
man. When they first announced that for like 360, it was 360 first that announced achievements, and then PS3 like copied it. But when they announced it, I was like, it's kind of dumb. Like, whatever. That sounds really lame.
Oh, you're just giving me this fake prize.
What does this
I'm
even
gonna
mean?
feel good, stupid gold stars.
But it's really, it adds another layer to the game. It's like when you finish the game and you beat it, it's like, well, here's some goals that I can achieve.
Some specific challenges, doing things a certain way.
Yeah. And it's just trash talking. It's rights to trash talk other people.
Yeah, really.
I only trash talk George, but I'm beating his trophy score, and I have been for like 8 years, so I'm good with it. Anyways, on Gauntlet though, the warning is if you're like a trophy enthusiast as myself, it's rough. Like it's pretty far to get some of these where it's like kill 1,000 enemies with each character, and each one's like a separate trophy.
My goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot of Gauntlet. To put it in perspective, I mean, we've been playing it for hours and hours and hours. I don't think I got the one for Wizard yet. And
wow. You've only played as Wizard, yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, you get into your groove and you kind of just play one character.
I couldn't even imagine playing anything else but Elf.
Right.
Unless I buy a PS4 and then drop the $5 to play Necromancer, which I'm a little bit interested in.
Yeah, there's one DLC for the game, which I got Gauntlet as a free game with PlayStation Plus a long time ago. And I think the game regularly is $20, which to me, if you have people to play with, I think is a great price point.
Because it's a super fun game.
It's really fun.
So fun. And you already mentioned like the replayability. Like
there's just so much content to put through it. If you're like the only person though, I don't know if I'd recommend playing it just for yourself.
Especially you have to drop $20 on it.
Yeah.
Just so that you could like not beat it like ever.
I mean, if you beat it, you could probably beat it like on easy. I mean, by yourself, but
what's the point of beating a game on easy?
And it's a game not meant to be played by yourself. That's the thing.
Yeah,
Gauntlet is a co-op game for sure.
Yeah, co-op beat 'em up.
Which I'm excited is like it's our first one because I feel like it's a good like this is co-op. This is like what it means. Like you have to work together as a team.
This is co-op.
Yeah, for sure. The DLC though is for the Necromancer, which we didn't talk about this. Frank and I before this podcast were playing Gauntlet 1 and 2, like the original Gauntlets.
Yeah, the first and the second.
Yeah, the same 4 characters, which if you've played Gauntlet Dark Legacy or Gauntlet Legends, you like the ones that were in the arcade in the 2000s, and I think it was on 64 and like PS2, GameCube, all that. Those have like a ton of characters. There's like a jester and like a pharaoh.
And we've played. Which one have we played? Is it Dark Legacy?
We played Dark Legacy.
Because I know I've played as the jester before.
It's the sequel to Legends, which has even more characters. Yeah.
Okay.
And Dark Legacy's fun, but it's not deep. Whereas in Gauntlet, I feel like because each character plays differently, there's more like strategizing you can do. Whereas in all the old Gauntlets before this one, it's just like, okay, hit attack.
Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed when we were playing 1 and 2. It's very straightforward, beat 'em up. We had the plan to sit down and play before we started recording this, so we had like some frame of mind and like some reference, but we got the gist very quickly.
Yeah, it's like you play it for like 5 minutes, you're like, all right,
so we're good on this one. Let's play 2?
Okay. Oh, it's the same exact game. Okay, let's
same
get
thing,
started. Definitely. And then Gauntlet Dark Legacy is the same game again, but it's just in 3D. And whereas I feel like Gauntlet is actually a different game.
It's so much more enjoyable. Just the extra dimensions that they put into it just make it so much more... I wouldn't say addictive. It's not like the next day after we play Gauntlet, I'm like, man, we need to play some more Gauntlet.
Yeah.
But definitely in the back of my head, I'm like, man, we need to do a little bit more grinding because got some more daily challenges to beat.
For sure. Yeah.
And then now Endless. We're going to have to give that a shot.
We got to get in some Endless.
I need gold.
We'll do some. Yeah, I need gold too. Gold. Man, I'm trying to think. The point I was trying to make, though, is in the original Gauntlet, those were the 4 characters.
Mm-hmm.
The Wizard, the Warrior, the Valkyrie, and the Elf. It's the same 4 characters in the new Gauntlet. It kind of is like a reboot of that. That, like, classic feel. But in the old Gauntlet, which we obviously didn't beat it, the last boss is the Necromancer, who is the DLC character in the new Gauntlet. which we haven't played. I mean, it's $5. Maybe I should just buy it. I want to say, and I could be completely wrong, I think there's a disc version of Gauntlet for PS4 that has the DLC included.
Interesting.
Which, if there is, I'll probably just end up buying it, just out of principle, because we've played it so much.
Just add it to the physical collection.
I mean, physical's just nice, and then that's a whole other debate. But is there anything else you want to toss in on Gauntlet? Anything maybe we haven't talked about?
Just while I'm hoping something pops up into my head here that we haven't mentioned yet. If you haven't played Gauntlet, if you haven't guessed from just our praises and everything so far, give it a shot. Play Gauntlet. If you got some friends you can play on with PS4, just do it. It's just so much good fun.
Highly recommended. Yeah, I don't want to get into a thing where if we're, this is kind of towing the line of reviewing a game and just talking about it, but I don't want to be Gauntlet 8.7 or something. You know what I mean? That's not the score I'm giving it, just so you know. But when I was looking it up today, kind of seeing what's up with it, everyone was it was 6.5 or 7 out of 10. I was like, that's too low.
It's too low.
That's way too low for Gauntlet. And some people were like, it's really repetitive. Well, it can be if you played Warrior on easy and just were playing it by yourself.
Yeah.
But if you're playing it with a group of friends and you want to put the challenge that you put the level of challenge where you want to try it, then yeah, it's totally worth it.
And that's honestly what makes it fun. The times where we're just okay, well, let's try that level one more time and see if it goes better.
Yeah, right. It's definitely, I don't know. It's very communal. It's what I imagine playing D&D in the 80s would have been like, but
except faster.
Yeah, but faster and just murdering things. I only got two other things I want to say on Gauntlet. I just Googled it on my phone. There is no physical version of Gauntlet.
Well, there goes that.
There goes that. This publisher, Arrowhead Games, the people who made it, the developer, I'm sorry, these guys have only done 2 console games. We were just talking about this. It's Gauntlet and a game that's very similar called Helldivers.
I'm glad. I can't believe I forgot about Helldivers already. We talked about it right before we started recording.
It's very similar to Gauntlet. We'll probably talk about it on a future episode if this is something we're digging. But
it's definitely important to mention while we're talking about Gauntlet.
There is a physical version of Helldivers though. So
does that one come with DLCs included?
It does. Yeah, it has everything included in it. So that's just something to think about. But Gauntlet, though, I would say it's really good. The only caveats I would say is make sure you have some buddies to play it with. Unlike some of the games that we have lined up to talk about, this one you can play it online co-op. It's not just local co-op, but do it local. Get some friends.
Yeah, then you can scream at each other and not have to worry about it being in your ear.
Be like, stop shooting the food, and then it'll be much more satisfying for the person.
Or just being able to see the look on your friend's face after they die and you run over and grab their pile of gold just before they come back.
Very satisfying stealing someone's
gold. That's a good
gold.
one.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the matter of Gauntlet.
That's all I got. Go play it.
Gauntlet, 3 thumbs up.
3 thumbs up. Well, let's turn the page. And thank you. Let's go to some, that's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is our second time doing this where we just talk about what's going on in the news. Not necessarily it has to be
what's going on with the news. That wasn't a very good Jerry Seinfeld.
That was really bad, actually. I'm glad we caught it. This is really just anything, it could be pop culture, it could be technology, it could be political, but we each have 3 stories we want to share with each other and kind of get each other's ideas.
And we'll share with you too, the listener.
Yeah, we won't do this off mic or something. We'll do it right now.
We just pause the recording and then have a conversation and come back and do peeps and predicts.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, we could. We have all the control.
Some would say it was a little pointless to get together, but whatever.
Yeah.
Did you want to start us off, Frank? Let's hear one of these things, man.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's do this. That's interesting. Number 1, June 12th, 2017. Franklin logs. So up first I have the oldest human fossils discovered. I couldn't get an exact date on when this was. I tried to search a couple different sites, but I know it's pretty recent. I pulled most of my research off of iflscience.com.
Ooh.
Again, that's iflscience.com. gauntlet.com. Not a sponsor. Hit us up.
Please.
I'm down for some
please,
science.
I love that website. Like, we'll just plug you guys for nothing.
Isn't it good?
Just to say we're your sponsor. You don't have to give us anything. This is a rare
Just to
deal.
be affiliated.
Yeah.
You get a dirt price cheap.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, 3 adults, 1 adolescent, and 1 child were found in the mountains of Morocco. These fossils were discovered in a cave up in the mountains. In that cave, there were also some stone tools, and animal bones and stone tools.
Wow. Okay.
The stone tools and the animal bones are what they actually used to get the dating, like the age of the bones, through thermoluminescence.
Wow. Okay.
Measuring the level of accumulated radiation, because like when different elements decay, they release radiation like at a certain rate. That's how we figure out how really old things are. The researchers tried to extract genetic material from the bones to just I don't know, do like a Jurassic Park thing, I guess. I don't really know what they were gonna do with the genetic information. Probably find out just more clues about our evolution.
Yeah.
You know?
Fill in the puzzle pieces.
But the bones were too old and too dried out of a condition because they were in the middle of the desert. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to say I remember someone debunked Jurassic Park essentially, saying that like those fossils, like it couldn't actually happen because DNA has a half-life.
Yeah.
After a certain point, you can't use it.
What are you gonna do? It expires.
Expired
Like milk.
Hey, all right.
That was nice.
That was nice.
I really enjoyed that. And so many things expire, you know? I lost myself in these notes after that jinx there. Yeah, so they dated these bones as being 300,000 years old. To put that into perspective, the previously oldest found human remains were 200,000 years old. Beat them by 100,000 years, David. Like, that definitely changes some things in the way we were thinking about our evolution. One of the things is it lends credence to the theory of a pan-African emergence of Homo sapiens. So, like, instead of us having like one common ancestor, just like the first Homo sapien, it looks like it was more of a situation of genetic material mixing, because back in the day Africa wasn't all dried out like it was now. There was like plush green grasslands and trees. People were able to move from community to community, and that's how they exchanged genetic material, through the love making. And and then mutations came out. Those mutations became stronger through positive selection. People were like, oh, I like that monkey person's nose a little bit better than this monkey person's nose. So they got mated with more. They were supposed to, these ones that they found specifically in the caves in Morocco are supposed to look very identical, like physically, to modern day human. But just with a less developed brain. So they didn't have like our fantastic brains the way we do now. They were just a little bit dumber. And I feel like there was something else. But no, that's pretty much it, man.
Very cool.
We're older than we thought we were. We've been around for a lot longer, 100,000 years longer, which is a bit.
Yeah,
it is a little bit.
150% more than we thought.
Yeah, definitely. It's pretty cool, man.
That's crazy.
So yeah.
I mean,
old people.
I don't really know like how much I have to input in on this story. To me, it's always amazing to think like how science is just always evolving.
That's the coolest thing about science.
Yeah,
it's like the never-ending search, the never-ending quest for the answers.
Yeah, definitely. It's just it's just great. I mean, if you think about 100,000 years, there's so much possibilities.
Like, we've only been alive for what, 26 years?
Yeah.
That's just the tiniest fraction of 100,000, let alone 300,000.
It's really insane. And what I think about is that we're always finding these links that are totally separate. I was actually hearing today that I want to say it was New Zealand, there's some other country, they found fossils that are just to lack of a better word, basically like halfling fossils.
Pygmies.
Where these things were just like I mean, and they existed during the same time period.
Yeah.
And it's just like a separate chain. It's just crazy to me that
if we just branched off at some point, and that branch went this way and we went that way.
And there was like eventually a dominant species, Homo sapien, that kind of took over everything else.
We're number one.
I wonder what what's 100,000 years gonna look like?
Yeah, who knows what it will look like, man.
It's really crazy. I think as far as like natural history goes, though, it really puts things into perspective, like on just the timeline of greater things. Like, because people say there's certain species that could never have existed together at the same time, and that might not necessarily be true. I mean, 100,000 years isn't as big as 35 million years or something.
Yeah.
But what I guess I'm trying to say is like we don't know for sure it's 300,000 years.
That's just maybe we just haven't found. Yeah, exactly. We haven't set that new high score yet.
Yeah, the new high score. Yeah, so it's just really exciting. It's really exciting stuff. It just always blows my mind that there's so many things to be discovered on Earth.
Yeah. Actually, while I was doing this research, they just discovered a new species of flying squirrel.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's stuff on land too. Like things on land are all accessible for the most part.
Yeah, like the ocean's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother crazy thing. That's outer space, but just like on
essentially,
Earth. Essentially,
it's to a certain degree less accessible than space.
Yeah.
Because at a certain depth, we just don't have the technology to travel.
Just get crushed.
Yeah. So to me, it's just exciting. It's just exciting knowing that the world always has new possibilities. Or there's species that we thought were extinct, and then we find a couple of them somewhere. It's really amazing stuff.
Research science, the final frontier.
Yeah. Go to France. They're looking for scientists right now. They're willing to pay for 4 years of your living and your moving expenses or something if you want to study science in France.
That sounds appealing.
Yeah, right? I mean, yeah, well, political opinion not needed, I guess.
Just remember, I'm not a scientist, so they're probably not going to take me.
Nah, you could claim to be a scientist.
I like science.
I'm an enthusiast. Will you do anything for science enthusiasts?
Buy me a sandwich at McDonald's, perhaps?
All right, well, I got one for you, Frank.
Hit me with it. Hit me with your best shot, David. Fire away.
A controversy surrounding the recent Wonder Woman movie.
Wonder Woman.
I commented a little bit about this in person. I was telling you about there was these women-only screenings of Wonder Woman. And
okay, I do recall you telling me about this.
I found some recent juicy developments today, though, and I felt like I had to bring it up again.
I'm very excited to hear.
I'm just hoping that we get this out pretty soon because Wonder Woman. I mean, by the time we get around to it, this will be weeks from now. You already said June 12th, right? That's today's date?
Today, I'm pretty sure it's the 12th.
I'm pretty sure it's the 12th.
Yeah, I do have a calendar on my computer right here in front of me.
So if you guys know,
the 12th.
This is when we're talking about it. Wonder Woman's been tearing stuff up. It's I want to say on comicbook.com where they rate all the comic book movies, it's the second highest rated comic book movie of all time.
Who's number one?
I don't know. I should have looked that up. I would guess Dark Knight or something like that. That one's always
Dark
prestigious.
Knight killed it.
Dark Knight's ridiculous. It's also the action movie directed by a female, the highest grossing action movie directed by a female ever, which is sort of crazy when you think about it. That women directors are, kind of barely breaking into this thing.
Well, it's just most major American industries are dominated by men because
that's true.
That's the culture we live in right now, unfortunately.
That's totally true.
What are you going to do?
So here's what was going down. Wonder Woman, feminist icon, really. I mean, there's no other way to paint it. She was in the 70s when feminism was on the rise. That's when they brought the comic book back after a hiatus. And that's a major symbol of who Wonder Woman is.
Mm-hmm.
Alamo Drafthouse, awesome movie theater, not a sponsor. They're
still haven't hit us up.
Whatever, that's cool. You don't have to throw any shade. Alamo Drafthouse had announced the idea of doing women-only showings for Wonder Woman. Now, if you're not familiar with Alamo Drafthouse, they do a ton of exclusive screenings of movies.
Yeah.
When Logan came out, they had one here at the El Paso Alamo Drafthouse where if you showed up, because they were showing Logan in black and white, Logan Noir is what they were calling it. If you showed up dressed in only black and white, they gave you like an exclusive poster. And I just saw one on Facebook today. They're doing Full Metal Jacket, and you pay like $30 and you get like an exclusive T-shirt. It's really cool. They're doing all these.
That
Kubrick
actually sounds
movies
real
now.
tempting. When is that going down?
I don't know. We'll look it up right now. That does sound pretty sweet.
I'm actually going to look it up as you're doing your own.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I promise to keep paying attention.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm a millennial. I can deal with someone texting. So what's going on though is Wonder Woman. Alamo Drafthouse decided at 2 of its locations, and I really want to make this clear because I think it's an important part of the story that's been overlooked.
Clarify,
everywhere
brother.
I was doing my research. It was only literally 2 or 3 showings at 2 different locations. There was one in the Alamo Drafthouse in New York, which, first off, come on, New York? Alamo Drafthouse? Anyways, the other one was in their Austin location. Now, I don't know how many screenings they had at each one, but it's going to be a handful. The movie came out June 2nd. They had these screenings on June 6th. So it also wasn't like a women get to see it first kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they had these screenings where you had to identify as a woman in order to see the movie, or you weren't allowed into this section. So, I don't know. Before you get a little bit further into this, what's your just baseline level of thinking about this, Frank? Like, do you think it's okay to have just a female-only screening of a movie?
Well, the thing is, there's a fine line, and really the only thing that matters where this line is placed is the observer and their own personal lines. But there's a fine line between inclusion and exclusion. You know what I mean? By making it super... You're trying to include specifically one very specific set, but at the same time, you're excluding it. It's like only for women, which is like... Every now and then I'll describe myself as a feminist. I definitely believe in a lot of feminist values. Even though I sound super misogynistic all the time, I just think it's funny to me. If I'm being quite honest, most of my jokes are like for me and for me only. And if you happen to laugh, well, more power to you. And if not, well, that's cool. That joke was for me anyways. But yeah, there's girl power. But I'm going to steal your analogy because it's the perfect analogy. If they had opened up Captain America and it was like a male only viewing, I mean, heads would have rolled. There would have been this huge controversy. There would have been this whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's really the only thought that I have. It's cool. Have a girl power, Superwoman thing. Wonder Woman. Excuse me. I feel like an old lady right now who just doesn't really get what her kids are into.
You playing those Pokemans?
Yeah, the Pokemans, dude. But yeah, it's just I don't know. It's not a huge deal to me. I can understand why people are upset though. At the same time,
yeah, I could see that. I mean, okay, so here's part 2 of the story though. So Alamo Drafthouse puts this stuff online, obviously. The showings sell out, and people are going nuts on Facebook and other social medias. It was funny because I read that argument online today. It was like, well, imagine if Captain America was male only. I was like, this guy's saying the same thing I was thinking. And Alamo Drafthouse was just kind of this is literally what they said. They're like, we're truly, 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 truly sorry if you've been offended.
The BP.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. They're just kind of being jerks about it in a weird way. It's funny. I mean, it's funny because if you've been on social media lately, that's the cool thing right now, is if you're a big corporation to be kind of quippy on social media, to have whoever's working that be a little snooty and it's funny and everyone gets a big laugh out of it. And basically Alamo Drafthouse is like, look, we don't want to take anything away from anyone else, but we're just trying to acknowledge that this is the first major superhero movie starring a female superhero movie.
Which is a huge thing.
It's a huge thing. It's also kind of not true. Because there was that Elektra movie.
Yeah, but Elektra sucked.
There was Catwoman. I mean, that's the thing, though. It's this is the first good one.
Yeah.
So I'll let it slide on that. It's also directed by a female director. So it's let's let women celebrate and have something of their own. Is that so much to ask? Because it is a male-dominated area.
It really is.
Comic books are. But at the same time, comic books in the 70s and 80s were being read by little boys. I mean, this isn't sexist. It's just true. Girls didn't used to read comic books as much as boys did.
But is part of that because of societal pressures?
Yeah.
And then
it's
gender roles were a
code.
huge thing back then?
And nowadays, now that comic book heroes are so popular, it's a different story. I'm just saying, like, the reason why we don't have more female superheroes is because when all these heroes were being invented, girls weren't reading comic books.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a reason to, like, market it as, like, a business standpoint. Anyways, so Alamo Drafthouse basically just says, calm down, guys. Which, to me, is ultimately where I'm kind of standing on it, but I'll get more into that. This professor in New York, though, I didn't get his name, but he's a gay professor. And he says, I've studied gay rights and equality for years and years and years. It's very important to me, and I think this is fundamentally wrong. And he's studying laws, like he was looking at laws and ordinances in Austin where they're saying, like, to make something as a business not available to other people is illegal. And the thing, too, is about the showing, all of the staff were female, too. So the servers were female, the projectionist was female, the cooks in the kitchen were female. Like,
now I kind of think they're plotting against us. This is just a ruse for some type of meeting.
Well, and the person was saying, well, like, not only are you being discriminatory against the customer, but now you're also making employment opportunities.
Yeah, somebody just lost a shift.
But to me, I also kind of think that might be, like, not... Like, you could just change the schedule that week. This is me just thinking, like, retail. Like, okay, we need all the women to work this one night, so all the guys are going to pick up a shift on a different day. Like, I don't think it was the scenario where they're like, okay, men, go home. It's also a movie theater. So there's just people working in every different theater.
Yeah.
Which also makes me wonder, and this, I couldn't find anything about this. Did they just have a regular showing of Wonder Woman going on at the same time?
Possibly.
You know what I mean? Because to me, then that closes the book on this thing.
So yeah, you just had to go to a different theater.
And it wasn't like, oh man, Alamo Drafthouse is the only place showing Wonder Woman. I can't see it anywhere, and now it's exclusively women. It's like, no, dude, you could just go to another one. And it's funny because, and we've talked about this before, people are always talking about liberals being snowflakes. And it's like, this is the most snowflakey thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh, I can't go to Wonder Woman showing. I mean, part of me understands it, but then where's the upset about, like, her gym? You can't go to her gym as a man. I mean, maybe you could if you, like, argued and were like, this isn't right ethically.
Yeah, I'm sure if you made a scene, but then would you really want to work out there?
Yeah.
Like, after all that?
And, I mean, the reason why, too, and it's sort of analogous, that her gym is because women don't want to be, like...
Oogled at
in the gym. They need a place of their own where they can feel comfortable. And it's like... Give women this 2-hour movie to have something of their own and feel, like, comfortable about it. Like, anyway, so this guy is now trying to get a lawsuit started against them.
Because, oh boy,
because he's saying, like, hey, I'm gay and I have to deal with women having bachelorette parties at gay bars all the time, and it's disruptive. But imagine if gay bars were saying, no straight people allowed. Which is kind of true. I mean, I kind of see what they're coming from there. But to me, that's the difference, is that a gay bar is a business that's open every day, more or less. This is a 2-hour screening of a movie once. And Alamo Drafthouse has even been like, hey, we've had exclusive screenings for military personnel.
Yeah, it's not like it's a business policy. It's just a special event.
It's a special event. And I don't know. It's to me, it's literally making a huge deal out of, like, nothing.
It's just ladies' night to the nth degree.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, man. Ladies' nights everywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, usually, like, ladies just get in free, but now
I know,
it's
but
just
I
like,
mean,
no, yeah, ladies
to
only
me, that's
tonight.
even worse. You know what I mean? Like, they're still paying for the movie. I can go see another movie or see Wonder Woman if I want to. Mm-hmm. Women are getting the bar no cover charge. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. You're saying they're more valuable than me. That's what you're saying.
They
right
are,
now.
though.
They are. I mean, they are. That's the point.
Like in the bar business, they are.
I mean, it's totally the point. But it's just like, it's funny to me that there's all this outrage about Wonder Woman, and then there's not outrage about anything else. And of course, like, I got some of these off Breitbart News, and they were just like making it sound like, oh, these liberals, they only like equal rights until it's against them. It's like, well, dude, I mean, you're kind of making a huge deal out of this, I think. Like, if the Entourage movie had a male-only screening, I don't think anyone would have cared.
I think all the screenings of the Entourage movie were male-only. Like, if you go back and look at the statistics, it was probably just all dudes.
I don't think any women have seen that movie ever.
Yeah! Yeah!
So, yeah, the only other thing I wanted to bring up on this is the showings were only in Austin and Brooklyn for one night. All of the proceeds went to Planned Parenthood. which is like it draws a political line, but at the same time, it's like that's pretty sweet. I don't know. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
It's like Alamo Drafthouse, like putting one more like stab in at these people.
Take that, you conservative
One thing
jerks.
I thought was interesting though, which isn't getting nearly as much coverage, Wonder Woman has been banned in Lebanon, and they're talking about banning it in Tunisia because Gail Gadot is Israeli. So there's like a whole separate controversy about like race / religion. It's Israeli, but that's just seems so much more interesting than the female part, which is just kind of like, guys, grow some thicker skin. Like get upset about something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
is this
seriously.
really something you need to be like getting your panties in a twist
Can't we
about?
just be upset about like climate change?
Yeah.
And do something productive with our butthurt?
Right? Ridiculous. Anyways, anything you want to add in on old Wonder Woman?
Nah, chill out. Go watch Wonder Woman
Right?
in an exclusive theater or an all-inclusive one, and then just don't worry about what other people are doing.
Oh, and it was hilarious is one of these guys was like, well, what if we want a man-only screening? And Alamo Drafthouse on Facebook, they replied like, go ahead. And they like put a link to like renting out the theater. Like when you could make an executive meeting. It's like, go for it, dude. Like you can make a male-only screening if you want.
That's good, man.
They're hilarious.
You turn a complaint around into a sales pitch.
To a sales pitch. That's a good employee.
Yeah, really. That guy's doing his work. Thank you for sharing that, David.
I got a kick out of it. I
That
thought
was
it was hilarious,
interesting.
man. Yeah.
So yeah. All right, so my number 2, oh, that's interesting, is going to be Trump's most current lawsuit involving his violations of emoluments clauses, which are a pretty big deal. They're like part of the Constitution.
And it's pretty important that you specify which one, because like in another week there'll be like 7 other lawsuits that have happened.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to make sure and get the names of the people involved in this lawsuit for that reason, because there were already 2 other lawsuits. Both of them ran into trouble going the full length of the trial because they had, what's it called? It's called, excuse me, I'm jumping around in my notes a little bit here. Standing. There's been questions of standing. Okay. I just couldn't think of the legal term. I wanted to make sure and get the legal term in there. Which basically means they were having trouble proving that the plaintiffs were harmed directly by the person being sued's actions.
Oh, okay. Thanks for I mean, I'm really only strong in bird law, so I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah, but you are a really good bird lawyer, so don't count yourself short, David.
Thanks, man.
So yeah, a Maryland Attorney General by the name of Brian Frosch and the Attorney General from the District of Columbia, his name's Carl Racine, filed this most current lawsuit at this time.
All right, smack it to me. What is it?
So yeah, they're basically filing that Trump has violated the emoluments clauses of the Constitution. For these reasons, Trump's leases of properties that are held by foreign government and government-owned entities, which is not okay, purchases and ownership of government-controlled entities, and other property interests or business dealings to foreign governments. Which, if all that's true, it's definitely not good. One of the ways they go about proving some of these things, they want, as soon as this case goes to the next step, and they're actually going to have a day in court, they want to request from a federal judge that Trump finally release his tax returns, which was a big deal in the elections. Broke this long-standing tradition of presidents and people running for president releasing their tax returns to find out like where their money's coming from and who they're involved with, those kind of things. So yeah, I mean, we'll see if this one goes all the way.
That'd be cool. I mean, the tax returns is just gonna it's gonna settle things either way. Either Trump has been like, totally cool this whole time, which I think is pretty unlikely.
Yeah. If that were the case, he'd be totally down to just, I mean, he'll tweet them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he would just tweet. And that's the thing, too. It's like, it's classic reasoning that if you don't have anything to hide, then you're just going to show it. And at this point, and I'm pretty sure he used the same argument on Obama and his birth certificate. It's just like, he's gotten so much grief for this thing. And you can make the comparison to Hillary Clinton and all of her transcripts of her speeches. She didn't put those speeches out because she knew that it made her look like she was in the pocket of big banks. So she didn't do it.
Yeah, the only reason to hide something is because you have something to hide.
Yeah. So the Trump thing, and to me, it's going to be what gets him into trouble the most. That's what I'm foreseeing. It's my prediction for the future. Because he has so many business ties to all these different places. And, I mean, here's the real reason, too. In case you're listening and you're like, well, I don't think it's a big deal if he's a businessman. You know what I mean? He's making deals that can benefit him financially, and that's the problem. That's, like, what's illegal about it. He's not having the country's best interests. He's considering himself and, like, his profit.
Yeah, putting himself first, not being a man for the people, by the people. And that's the whole reason for the emoluments clause. Like,
yeah,
supposed to keep the president honest.
And from what I understand, a lot of his businesses he gave over to his son, which then his son is using like taxpayer dollars to fly around under the protection of the U.S. government and do these business deals. It's like super shady.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the outcome really. The other thing I'm also thinking about is like, I don't believe Trump has as much money as he says he does. I just don't believe it. And maybe I'm just being like super critical, but I want to see those tax returns because I have a feeling that he's just not as successful. I mean, he has...
But he's super good with business.
He's not, though. Like, he really isn't.
But he said he was.
It's awful. I don't know how he's fooled so many people into thinking he's a savvy businessman. He's made so many awful business decisions. And more importantly, the ones that are like moderately successful is because he's cheated a bunch of people out of things.
It was a success at like robbing people of their money.
Trump University, that whole scandal of him building casinos in, I think it was Atlantic City, where he just wasn't paying contractors. He uses like cheap Chinese steel and then says he's trying to bring jobs to America. It's awful, man. It's just really bad. I mean, the things he's most successful at are his like kitschy little things, like his... I have my Trump tie line or something. It's like, I just don't see him being as savvy as he's putting off. And I'm excited, dude. I think Trump's tax returns, if they end up getting released, it's going to be monumental, man. Either way you look at it.
Yeah.
Either way you look at it.
Either way.
Either it's like, fine, let's put all this Trump stuff to bed and let's just get behind this thing and just do it. Or it's going to be like, oh, geez, this dude is being super illegal. Impeach him. You know what I mean? It's one of the two, but I'm just excited to, I guess, just to like put an end to it.
Either way.
Because I got
just kind of steady the waters a little bit.
Yeah. Like when Obama was president, it was just like nonstop conservative criticism for like 8 years. And I remember being like, hey, he's the president. Just give him a little bit of a break. Let's let him do his president thing. See how it comes out. Now I'm super critical of Trump. But at a certain point, it's like, okay, well, if he can actually show that he's doing something as benefiting the country, I'm down. I haven't really seen it.
Like, still waiting for that proof.
Still waiting for anything. Like, literally anything. But all of his decisions have just been, like, monumentally awful. Like, okay, Obamacare, sure, you don't agree with it, but at least you can't argue that people who've never gotten healthcare coverage have gotten healthcare coverage.
Yeah. It was a huge thing.
Yeah.
It saved lives.
Some people like, oh gosh, I have to pay $500 in insurance premiums. I used to pay like $50 or something. It's like, wow, that really does stink. And for some families, that's awful. Like,
yeah, it's a huge hit.
That's a huge financial burden. But there are people who literally would have died without it. So at what point is like one greater than the other? That's like, You're putting a value on a human life, really. Whereas Donald Trump, it's like, what has he done? I mean, he's not even halfway through his first year.
I mean, he made a lot of promises.
A lot of promises, specifically in the first 100 days. I'm gonna defeat ISIS. I'm gonna get the wall built. Mexico's gonna pay for it. We're gonna dismantle Obamacare and put in a plan that I got a plan and I have the best people. I got the best people. None of them happened. So it's like, I don't know. I want to be like, okay, Trump's doing an okay job, because no president's perfect. And I don't agree with a lot of his social issues. If he can find a medium there, I'd be okay. If he can make the economy better, it's like, all right, that's cool. But it's like, geez, I don't see it happening. I'm just skeptic right now more than anything else. And his appointments have all been disastrous. So there's no other reason to expect more of the same.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm coming from. Just from the things we've seen so far, from almost every decision he's made, just doesn't bode well for the future.
It really doesn't, dude. It's very disheartening, but we'll see. Hopefully,
who knows?
Oof! Yikes! Well, I got another. Oh, that's interesting.
What is it, David?
All right, I want to talk about something that just got released today. I also have a Trump topic, but we're gonna go something a little friendlier, and then we'll come back to Donald Trump.
Take a little Trump break.
I want to talk about it's E3 time, guys. It's E3 2017. Get yourselves ready. It's happening right now. Literally, the Sony press conference is going on while we're talking about this. But I saw something that I'm really hoping you haven't seen yet. I know we were talking about seeing that it's just all over the internet. You go on YouTube, you go on Facebook, it's just game trailers everywhere.
E3 is happening.
Yeah, it's a big deal. The Electronics Entertainment Expo. Xbox announced their upgraded Xbox One today. Have you heard about this?
I saw a thumbnail, but it was while I was doing research for my that's interesting.
Yeah.
I was on a time crunch. Didn't have time to click on it.
No, I can understand that. Do you remember what the name is?
Is it the One X?
It is the Xbox One X, or the Xbone X is what I'm trying to... hashtag Xbone X.
Xbone X sounds like a hardcore kid's MySpace profile name.
Oh, it does, with two X's on each side, like a lowercase, uppercase.
Xbone XX.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a little border around it.
Yes.
Oh gosh, that's awful. And the B is an 8 or something. Anyways,
capital letters all over the place for no reason.
The Xbone X is Microsoft's newest version of the Xbox One, which this is a little bit of a side tangent. I'm just getting frustrated because video game consoles are now becoming like cell phones, where every 2 years there's a slightly upgraded version and they want you to buy this version because it's a little bit better.
It does this one thing just a little bit better. And if you have the right equipment.
The Nintendo 3DS did it with a new 3DS, which to me, not as big a deal because it took them 7 years to come out with another version of it. But the PlayStation has the PS4 Pro, which came out a few years later, minimal upgrades. The Xbox One already has an upgraded version, the Xbox One S.
Yeah.
And now it's the Xbox One X. It's awful. Anyways, here's what's going on with the Xbox One X. It's compatible with all of Xbox One accessories and games, so you can play everything you want. It's going to have a line of games that are going to be better on Xbox One, which is interesting because that's exactly how the 3DS works. There's some 3DS games that just look better on the new 3DS.
Okay.
But the new 3DS also has a couple titles that you can't play on the regular 3DS. And when they first started talking about it, they didn't mention that. So I'm kind of wondering if this is going to be something that's going to happen with Xbox One.
There's just going to be some games that you could only play on the X.
And they're not talking about it now because that would be a marketing disaster. But then 6 months from now, they're like, oh, and this game's only going we'd really like to make it on both, but it's not going to be powerful enough on the Xbox One. So you got to get the Xbox One X. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised, I guess. And Microsoft isn't exactly the nicest development company ever. Anyways, so here's some just techno jumble that I don't really understand, but I'm just going to give you the straight facts.
In case somebody out there knows, it's for your information.
It's got a 6 teraflop GPU.
Well, that sounds made up.
Right? It's got 12 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory. Here's the one that is kind of you'll understand it. It's got true 4K resolution.
Truly.
So Xbox One S the big selling point was, oh, it plays 4K, but it doesn't play games in 4K. It streams
Only
video in
videos?
4K. So if you're watching YouTube, there's some videos that are in 4K. You can watch those. It also has a 4K Blu-ray player. Now, the PS4 Pro also has 4K capabilities, quote unquote. It like shows videos in 4K. It doesn't have a 4K player though, so you can only stream stuff in 4K. And then it plays games, but not in full 4K.
Just close?
Close, like in like 2.5K or something. So apparently the Xbox One is the first like true 4K console. They're saying that it's the most powerful console ever made, which I think is a stupid marketing gimmick because it's like every console generation is the strongest console ever made.
Yeah, if it's not the strongest one ever made, what were you even doing?
Yeah.
Why are you even releasing
Unless
it yet?
you're Nintendo, then you just you put a bunch of games and you wave your arms around.
They're just trying to have fun.
They're just trying to have fun, which might be the way to go. But anyways, it has a liquid cooled vapor chamber. Basically to like keep it cool. Yeah, it's the smallest Xbox console they've ever made. It's smaller than the OG Xbox, which I'm looking at right now.
And it comes with internal cooling.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. And I couldn't get like the exact measurements are there. I didn't write it down, but it's basically like the width is no bigger than 2 Xbox One controllers, like in length. It's very small.
Interesting.
It looks really nice. I mean, it's very sleek. It looks, because to me, I thought the Xbox One just looked bulky.
It's huge.
It looks like an old VCR from like the 80s
it's
or
a
something.
big shiny brick.
Yeah. So the CPU, the like processing pretty much, the computer power, it's 30% faster than the Xbox One. And the GPU, it's 4.6 times more powerful than the Xbox One. So it's actually like a pretty significant boost. If you compare it side by side with the PS4 Pro, it is a more powerful console. So they're not lying when they say it's the most powerful one that's ever been. Here's the thing. It's coming out November 7th. Guess the price point. Keep in mind that the Xbox One's going to be like $250, I believe, after this price lowering they're going to do.
After this price
it's going to be like
here.
$200 to $250 for a regular Xbox One. Guess how much more this one's going to be?
Is it going to be $399.99?
If this was the Price is Right, you would be wrong. But he's still be in the. It's gonna be $500.
$500. I was wondering. I was like, should I guess $450? But still,
that wasn't even like in your mind, right? $500.
It better be real good. It better be real good.
Here's the thing. Like, say it looks moderately better. If you already own an Xbox One and you've already dropped, maybe you paid $300 when it came out or whatever. Are you gonna pay another $500 for like moderate improvement?
A little bit better.
Because the other thing too is if the games aren't exclusive for it, is that much more power really gonna make a big difference? You're gonna be playing the same game. It's got to be accessible on both consoles. Is it gonna look $500 worth?
Yeah. Is it worth that extra $200?
And I mean, I know we've been talking about this. Frank owns an Xbox One. I have a PS4. He's been kind of thinking about jumping ship and getting on the old Sony train.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I know, right? There's an argument to be had about which console has better exclusives. If you don't like Halo and you don't like Gears of War...
So I'm not a huge fan of Gears of War, and I hate Halo.
Right? So what's the other Xbox One exclusive? Forza, which is cool.
Yeah.
Forza's pretty sweet.
It's a nice, like, little time killer.
I've played Frank once in Forza, and I beat him because I totally took a cheap move.
In the first turn.
I hit him and he fishtailed. I like rear-ended
It was like a
him.
full spin.
It was awesome. And I'm awful at driving simulators. I got so lucky. I was like, I need to knock him off the track right now and just go for it, or I'm going to lose.
I mean, and it paid off.
It did. It was big risk, big reward.
Yeah, there you go. But that's really honestly why I want to make the Switch, like, for the exclusives. Just more excited to play the stuff that comes out only on PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I mean, there's Last of Us 2 on the horizon, which I'm hoping they're going to show something of, which was, like, monumental. If you like Uncharted, I mean, I can understand why you might not. There's, like, the criticism that it's just, like, a movie or whatever. but it's an awesome movie. It's like really cool.
Are you saying you don't like movies?
Right. PS4 has been obliterating Xbox One. Like, it's been owning it since it came out. The sales are like dominating right now.
Yeah. I mean, the results are in.
The results are in, yeah. I don't know. Unless you have something you're thinking of, I honestly don't see who this is marketed towards. Like, it could be for the hardcore Xbox One gamers. Yeah. Or maybe people who are just getting in. But
if you don't already own an Xbox.
But still, it's like
$500?
It's like, am I going to pay $250 more for something that's going to look a little bit better?
Yeah, like as they're dropping the price for the one that's already really good, like pretty good.
And you got to think about it, like, as far as quality looks, there's only so high we can go in resolution that our human eye can pick up. And if you're getting like a 4K TV that's, 36 inches or something, I'm going to argue it's not going to look that much better than a 1080 TV at that size. Like, you need a big 4K TV so that the amount of pixels per like square inch or whatever is going to look that much better. I don't know. I mean, like 3D TV was supposed to be a thing. That didn't happen. And now this is like the next resolution going up. You can buy 4K Blu-rays now. I just don't know if it's
going to stick.
If it's going to stick, or like, is Blu-ray enough? I don't ever watch
Blu-ray's real good.
Dude, Blu-ray looks awesome. I'm never like, oh, guys, Blu-ray, it looks really bad right here or something. Like, as opposed to when you're watching a DVD and you saw Blu-ray, it was like, whoa. The resolution's insane difference. Whereas now it's like, oh, that looks a little bit better. Yeah, I guess it looks nicer. I don't know.
The colors are more vibrant, I guess.
Yeah, maybe they should do like a blind, like you bring people into a room with two TVs, you have them watch the same like 30 seconds of different movies, and you're like, all right, tell me which one's better, and let's just figure it out. Because I'm gonna argue, I don't think that many people can tell the difference between 4K and 1080.
I wonder if I could. Now I'm curious.
Right? Well, you go to like Sam's and you see the giant like 70-inch 4K TV. It looks nice, but it's like
it's not as good as free samples.
It's not as good as the free samples. That's true. I don't know. Is there anything you want to toss on the Xbone X?
No, I mean, it just seems like a hard sell.
It really does.
I'm not sold on it.
I know, right?
It just kind of affirmed my leanings that I'm just gonna knuckle down and buy a PlayStation 4.
And Xbox also, they had their press conference yesterday where they were showing off games, and it was like nothing looked interesting. I mean, maybe this is just me, but I didn't see a single Xbox exclusive where I was like, whoa, that looks like this is going to be a good time. Oh, I wish I had an Xbox One. It was all like,
It's like, that looks like a game.
Yeah. I want to play State of Decay 2. I'm going to buy it on PC. I'm going to call it a day. That's all I want from Microsoft.
Yeah, that's nice. You can at least get away with it that way.
Yeah, right? Can't do that on Sony, and that's part of it, I think.
Well, David, that was interesting. I'm glad I got that knowledge.
I'm glad you received it. I'm glad you were here to be the receptacle.
Yeah, now I don't even have to Google it to find out if I want to buy one.
That's the idea.
Yeah, David saved you some time there as well. Thank him.
Yeah.
If you'd like to thank David, you can email us at wedidapodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, there you go. Or my phone number is not.
All right, so my final, that's interesting, is about, I can't remember how I stumbled across this in my internet research, but I just thought it was really funny and kind of like really interesting. I was like, oh, that is interesting.
Ooh, I'm excited.
This is about a click farm that got busted in Thailand.
Okay.
Yes. Do you know what a click farm is, David?
Yeah, I do. It's like they're paying people to be fake subscribers pretty much to, social media.
Yeah, boost clicks and likes.
And I'm sure they're paid pennies, really, for like what's got to be the most tedious work ever.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's got to be so mundane.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was super interesting about it. What a weird, like, sect of crime to get into.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it seems pretty low risk. We'll find out. Details to come at 7.
Stay tuned.
So on Sunday, a home in Thailand was raided by police and... Sorry, I don't know what happened to my handwriting here when I was jotting down these notes. I must have had a stroke or something. Police raided a home in Thailand. They discovered 3 Chinese individuals running a fake click farm. Over 500 cell phones, 350,000 SIM cards, 21 SIM card readers, and 9 computers were seized in this little house in Thailand. These gentlemen were running this house. They were in the country illegally. The official charges were working without a permit and smuggling SIM cards into the country of Thailand. These men were hired by some Chinese company. The article that I was reading didn't name the company. So, I mean, I won't either because I can't. I don't have a name.
Just name a company.
Reebok.
All right. I always knew they were up to no good.
Damn you. So yeah, these men were paid. We're going to find out about their pay now. They were paid 150 baht, which equates to $4,403 a month.
For how many men? 3 men?
3 men.
And they split that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's not bad.
It's not bad.
I imagine there's
for
way
working,
less paying job.
For working 500 cell phones? But the cell phones are just like the vessel for the 350,000 SIM cards. Like, that's the crazy thing. And they had this metal rig rigged up, like these metal shelves, and all the smartphones were just like hanging, and they were all connected to these computers and stuff, and they were just running everything from there.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds so crazy. These guys were working specifically to boost likes on some Chinese web app. It's pretty much like WhatsApp, but in China.
Okay.
So it's like a chat. You have to be invited to the chat groups and stuff. It's very, very specific, but it's kind of weird that they were hired for that company instead of some social media or like
Facebook
video hosting
or
website.
YouTube
Yeah, I thought that was weird. Weird risks. The punishment for working in Thailand without a permit is up to 5 years in prison. But it looks like they're just going to pay a fine and get deported back to China.
Interesting. Okay. Well, if the fine's less than how much they made, that's not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal, right?
Not a bad deal at all.
Did you get a trip home?
This is just so strange, the time that we live in now, where this is actually something that exists.
That's how they spend their entire day.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Is that work any less desirable than working in a call center?
No.
And I really don't. I don't want to put down call center people. I used to work in a call center. It's not fun.
And that's how you know, because you're speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Actually, when the police raided it and they saw the whole setup, they thought they were running a fake illegal call center until they dug a little deeper, and they were like, "Oh, well, this is weird."
Yeah. And that's another thing too. People are trying to run, I've been hearing about these IRS scams from people in Saudi Arabia, and they're calling people saying they're the IRS, and you have to transfer them money over the phone or something, or the IRS is going to
This is the IRS. You. What is your debit card number?
Yeah. You have a $3,000 fine. We will call the police. Jeez. It has to kind of happen though, because really you are stealing money.
Yeah.
If you look at YouTube, for instance, you have the YouTube algorithm. If you had someone giving you subscribes and views and stuff, it's they're gonna find out. But at that time, you could be getting revenue from YouTube that should be going to other people who actually deserve it for making some kind of content. Wow.
As opposed to just paying for fake subscribers and viewers.
And it's also sort of sad in a way, because you'll hear about these people individually. Apparently, they were talking about Donald Trump having fake subscribers. I don't know how true it is, so I don't want to go into that. But, I heard it was half or something like that of his Twitter followers were bots. And something about Katy Perry recently also, that 100,000 of her followers were fake or something. I need to look up the exact numbers, but...
Well, some of them are probably kind of fake, just as people. Not super upfront about their intentions.
You have to do that now, though, if you're a celebrity, to almost prove that you're relevant. because your amount of likes and subscribers are like...
It should just be like astronomical. It should be some crazy huge number and constantly growing.
Yeah, it should. I mean, if you're the
like
president
your brand
of the United
should be
States,
expanding.
Yeah. You don't want to be, oh, look at this guy. He's only got 3,000 subscribers and he's, pop star or something. It's just not gonna look good. So it's weird that the social status is so intense. What's crazy to me though is like eventually, what if we get to the point where people, and maybe some people do, but like just regular, average, everyday people on Facebook are like, oh, I'll pay $2 a month or something if someone likes every post I make. You know what I mean? And they like it through like 6 different profiles, so it's not clear that I'm, having just this one person who's liking all my stuff.
It just seems so crazy.
It's just so weird. It's like, this is really what you need to be self-affirming. And another thing too, and I'm sure you've experienced this, you get like fake profile requests.
Yeah.
And it's always some like very attractive woman like on a beach or something. And
but
then you
only
click
one
on
picture of an attractive woman on a beach.
Yeah, you click on there's no other pictures, and then it's like you have no mutual friends, or you have one mutual friend.
I always click on them to find out which of my friends have added her.
And it's exactly the guy you would expect.
Yeah, every time.
When you see it, you're like, this dude, of course he's going to add this chick. Like, obviously. But what is the long game there? Is it a hacking thing? Is it some kind of like, what are they trying to get out of you? I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough about the computers, but I'm sure they could grab all kinds of things, even just like your information on what to advertise to you, which I mean Facebook and Google and everything already does, but I don't know.
One thing I heard recently is that people, like for instance in the IRS scam, you get a suspicious email or you get a suspicious message on Facebook that they're in very poor grammar. Like there's purposeful mistakes in the message. Not that these scammers can't like figure out how to, make a properly structured English paragraph or something. They're doing it on purpose because they know the kind of person that will reply to that and believe it are typically going to be like more gullible or might have like a lower IQ or something. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to trick
easier to steal
smarter people. Yeah, it's going to be more work. So it's kind of like the first phase of testing. Can I get this person to believe that I'm someone I'm not?
Interesting.
And then from there, like the scam starts. So it could be a similar thing.
The game has begun.
It could be a similar thing when you get those like suspicious friend requests on Facebook. Like they're testing the water to see if I can come to this person from another angle. Because on some people's cases, if you friend someone on Facebook, you're giving them your email address. Some people have their phone numbers posted on their Facebook, but that's information you can't get until you're their friend.
You keep checking in at every place you stop at and eat at, letting people know where you are 24/7.
Letting them know your debit card history. Wow. That's insane to me, man. It's just weird. And it's like in the future I see like I don't know. I don't want to say iRobot again, but it's going to be like a bunch of like drones hooked up in some warehouse and all these people are like making fake androids or something. You know what I mean? It's just going to get crazy. It's getting crazier and crazier as we get more integrated into what our lives mean through like the internet.
That would be useful in a situation like Trump's inauguration where he wanted to make the crowd seem bigger. Just have a bunch of like bots in the crowd.
Yeah. When Trump gets elected for his like 12th thing consecutively as a president because he's going to like break the Constitution somehow and just be like...
I mean, by that point, we'll all be required by law to show up to the inauguration every year.
That's a good point. We won't need the fake bots.
Yeah. We'll have to trek our poor bodies up there.
Oh my gosh.
Over there?
Yeah, through like the nuclear fallout, it's going to be like intense. Like half the country will make the journey. We'll just die on the way. Oh gosh, that's scary. Well, Frank, speaking of Donald Trump, I got one more.
I'm really proud of us for naturally segueing back into Donald Trump.
It's impossible right now not to just always segue back to Trump.
He's so hot right now.
He's so hot. That Donald Trump, he's so hot right now. What I got for the last, that's interesting of the day. I want to talk about this Trump yearbook controversy. Have you heard about this? It's not Trump's yearbook. I'm doesn't seem like your eyes aren't telling me yes. So what happened is,
it's not Trump's yearbook?
No, it's not Trump's yearbook.
But it is Trump's yearbook?
But it has to do with Trump and a yearbook.
Interesting.
It's not his personal one.
I am intrigued.
So Wall Township High School in Wall, New Jersey, which first off, most boring town name I've ever heard. Wall, New Jersey. I mean, Trump loves it. He loves the town. He said that a young man, I think he was a junior in high school, he showed up on picture day wearing a Trump Make America Great Again t-shirt.
Okay.
So he gets his pictures back from Jostens or whoever does these pictures.
Uh-oh.
His parents see him. They're like, oh, cool, looks great. Whole school year goes through. At the end of the year, they get their yearbooks. They're handing them out to all the students. He opens up the yearbook, finds the picture, and his Trump logo has been digitally removed.
Yes.
And it looks like he's just wearing a blank shirt.
Yeah.
So then this kid is like...
They could have at least, like, put... like the Kool-Aid Man's face or something, like an exchange.
Put like Hillary Clinton's face on it. Just really get him.
Just go deep with it.
So the parents are obviously upset with the administration. They're like trying to figure out what's going on. So then they find out there's another kid who also is wearing some Trump gear in the picture at the same school. He had a vest that just said Trump on it, and it's also been digitally removed.
Oh. Snap.
And then his sister, this kid's sister who's wearing the vest, his sister goes to the same school. She's president of the freshman class. In the yearbook, she submitted a Trump quote, like with enough time, like under the right circumstances, like here's my quote, it's the right amount of letters.
Took
or whatever.
all the right steps.
She did the right steps. It's been removed, is not posted in the yearbook. And here was the quote. It's do you know what uranium is? It's nuclear weapons and other things and dangerous. No, it's not that one. Sorry. I love that quote so much.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like this person would have left that quote in there.
No, her quote is, I like thinking big. If you're going to be thinking anything, you might as well think big. Which is hilarious because it sounds like a Trump sentence because it's like a third grader's like word selection.
If you're going to think big.
If you think big. I like think big. I mean, I'm not here just to bash. Well, I am here to bash on Trump.
Be honest with yourself, David. You know exactly what you're doing.
I'm trying to be. Let me just get your opinion right now, man. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, as funny and humorous as I think it is, because, I mean, you know my feelings on Trump, obviously, if you've listened to the podcast before, or if I'm just talking to you, David, because you know me personally. But yeah, you can't just like Photoshop people's shirts out of a picture just because it shows they're leaning.
Yeah, you
like
really
that's
can't.
their right. It's free speech.
It totally is free speech.
As long as they're not going against like the school dress code, like there's no reason.
Yeah, and the Wonder Woman one, it's like, all right, guys, you're just complaining about something. It's not really a big deal. Quit being snowflakes. All these conservatives. On this one, I'm on their side. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like no, they definitely shouldn't have done that.
And, I mean, I would argue that if someone had a Hillary Clinton shirt, that it would be untouched. And one of the students was saying that, and they were like, well, no one wore a Hillary Clinton shirt, so we won't know. It's like, come on. We know the person who was editing these photos had a problem with Trump, and they wanted to take it out.
Yeah.
Which, I had a friend in college. He'll remain unnamed. During the president...
He had no name?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
He who shall not be named. During the presidential primary, he was telling me that he saw a Trump... road sign on like well, it doesn't matter what street it is. We're in El Paso. You guys don't know. He saw like a vote for Trump sign, like just on some lot or something, and he was like, I'm gonna go after school and take that sign and just trash it. Part of me thinks that's hilarious, but the serious side of me is like, you can't do that. Someone is putting their political opinion out there. If they're doing it in a hurtful, derogatory way, that's different, but they have every right to show that sign. If you don't agree with it, and say that's like public property or something for some reason, and you could put a sign right next to it, put a sign right next to it for your
go grab yourself a sign.
But to take theirs away and say like, hey, you can't show your political affiliation, I mean, that's just un-American. That's really
it really is.
So
that's not how democracy works.
The other part of me, though, like the snide part of me was thinking, I bet this kid doesn't even like Trump that much. Like, at first I thought the first kid who wore the Trump shirt was like, I'm going to do something funny. I'm going to wear a Trump shirt to the yearbook photo and get in the yearbook so everyone will laugh about it. And it reminded me of when I was in high school. I had this friend. We weren't like close friends. We were like buds. His name was John Kim. And I want to say he was Korean. I'm going to feel racist if he's not Korean. But
wow, David. That might have been racist.
He had pretty long hair. And on the yearbook day, he shaved the top of his head completely bald and like went with a razor, so he looked like an old Asian man.
And it was amazing. Hilarious.
I'm gonna take a picture from my yearbook. I'm gonna put it in this video when we get around to editing.
David, I'm so excited to see it.
It's gonna be good. And that's the kind of prank you pull in the yearbook when you're like in high school. And I thought at first, okay, this kid's just like trying to be a jerk, and now someone's...
You pointed at your eye when you said "I." It was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, it was totally subconscious.
That was like my Trump hand gesture. That's the kind of joke that you pull in high school. And this guy, I thought at first, okay, this guy's just messing with people, and now he's got more fuel for his fire to mess with people.
Yeah.
But then it's like the other two kids also at the same time. No way. Like, this is just someone probably blocking some amount of freedom of speech. And it's just super lame. So we're doing our research today for Oh That's Interesting before we started filming this thing. And I was slacking it. Frank was slacking it. We were doing all our research like the day of.
Yeah, what was it? Last night or... Yeah, it was last night where we were like, oh, are we recording tomorrow?
Oh, man, I haven't done any research yet.
Yeah, we had a schedule change. We usually record on Thursdays. We're recording on Monday this week. We were not prepared for it.
Well, like 3 hours before we started recording, I was just checking the computer, and there was another update on the story. And
Part 2.
The thing that I also thought, which I didn't mention yet, this isn't exactly part 2 yet, but when you're doing yearbook... It's mostly high school students doing yearbook.
Yeah, I remember yearbook being like run
it's by... It's like a staff, right? Yeah.
Yeah, by like the journalism or newspaper club, whoever.
Exactly.
Whatever their name is.
All the go-getters.
At your school.
And I thought, okay, this was some other high school kid who was like really into Hillary or Bernie or whoever, or they just hate Trump and they wanted to take it out. And it's like, you can't get that mad at another kid. Like maybe they should have some kind of reprimanded thing or they should be disciplined, but it's not like a huge deal. It turns out it was a teacher.
Oh, that is a big deal.
That is a big deal. And this teacher just got suspended today.
Well, yeah.
And it's like, I mean, now the parents are even more upset. Before, the parents were asking that all of the yearbooks be reissued with a letter from the administration saying, hey, we messed up. And the principal has gone so far to say is like right now, like, hey, the only policy is you can't have like anything offensive or like drug use, alcohol use in a yearbook photo. Everything else is good. So this isn't, the political line isn't against the rules or anything.
Yeah.
But that it's a teacher, that's not cool. That's just totally unethical. It's totally unethical. I don't know if this guy should get fired or lose his credentials, but there's got to be something.
Yeah, the hammer's going to come down.
That's not cool. I mean, and you got to think, okay, maybe this guy's a journalism teacher, but even if he's just the journalism teacher, how much of this bias is coming across in his teaching?
Yeah, if he's okay with crossing that big a line by editing the clothes that somebody's wearing in their yearbook, like what else is he okay with doing to just on a day-to-day basis?
And what really bums me out is it makes liberals and progressives look totally unreasonable. Whereas, like, it takes one person to give a whole group of people, like, a bad name. And usually it's the conservatives doing that. I'm just saying. No, but I mean, lately it has been progressives. There's been all these circumstances of people just going way out there, and it makes progressives just look kooky. It's like, guys, there's a line that should be crossed, and the value should be that we need to, like, uphold all sides, whether you agree with it or not. You know, you got to uphold the rules of the country, like the Constitution, like the laws that have been set. If you can't do that, you definitely shouldn't be a teacher.
No, definitely not. You should not be shaping America's future.
So maybe he should. Maybe he should lose his credentials. I don't know. It is a serious issue.
It really
is. I think. It went from being like, oh, this could be some stupid high school prank to it being a serious issue. On the other side, though, there's no way they're going to reprint all those yearbooks.
No. Can you imagine how expensive, like the hit that the school would take?
Yeah, because yearbooks are like, mine was like $175 or something. Mine was stupid expensive.
Jeez.
Because it's high quality paper.
It really is.
And it's a lot of
shiny.
ink.
They smell real nice.
And to reprint the whole thing for one Well, two or three pages actually, because these are the people. That's insane. I don't see that happening. Maybe they could just get like a little sticker of the picture, and you could like put it on your yearbook and get the correct version.
Just hand out the stickers at the journalism room.
Put that on there. I don't know. Any thoughts on this thing, man?
No, it's just... It's so far from being okay what an educator should be doing. You know what I mean? You have a responsibility. Like, you know what you signed on for.
For realsies.
You're not even supposed to talk to these kids about politics.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to sidestep around it like a ninja.
To me, and I am now a teacher. As of tomorrow, I'm going to get assign my paperwork. There is a way to talk about politics, but it should never be like, this is the right way. Yeah,
open discussion is fine.
I think a teacher who challenges both sides, the side they agree with, the side they don't agree with, to defend their stance and like make kids actually think about what they're like saying their belief is. Because in a lot of ways, politics is very similar to religion, where you're going to grow up with the leaning that your parents had. Like, you're not going to be born into a Catholic household and then just decide when you're 12, like, oh, I'm going to be Muslim.
Yeah, you didn't just come up with these ideas on your own.
It's part of culture, politics, and religion. So it is a school's place to challenge those ideas. Like, you need to like have critical thinking to where you're actually thinking about like, oh man, how can this be different? I need to be challenged on my beliefs I already have, so I can defend them. If I can defend them, then I can justify them. But you can't be saying, oh, this is the right way and all these other ways are wrong. Because that's the opposite. That's like indoctrination.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah. Yikes.
Ah, what a bummer. Well, I guess at least it wasn't Trump's fault. Because when you first said Trump's yearbook thing, whatever you said, I was like, what could he have possibly done involving a yearbook? I'm so excited to watch this unroll.
Yeah, these are for like future YouTube comments where people are just calling us like progressive shills. Watch this video where we kind of defend Trump. Yeah. Or at least in this side, we're like taking his side.
We defended somebody's right to defend Trump.
There we go. That's as close as we'll get.
Yeah.
Well, you know what time it is.
7:27 p.m.
Yeah, it's actually 7:28 is Peeps in Predicament time, so we're just in time.
All right, Solo, let's give it a second. It's not time yet.
Mm-hmm. Yada. I just want to stress something real quick while we're waiting for this extra minute to start.
Stress it.
Guys, we're running low on Peeps.
Oh, that's a pretty good point.
Like,
David,
toss us a comment. We need something.
David, how could they ever get suggestions to us?
Well,
is there a way?
You can send me a letter in the mail. A PO. No, I'm just joking. You can email us at WeDidAPodcast.
Can we get a PO box?
I'm down to get a PO box. It'd be hilarious.
This seems so official.
Yeah. You can email us at WeDidAPodcast@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook.com/WeDidAPodcast, where you can send us a message. If you're on YouTube, which most likely you are, just leave us a comment in the comment section below. I'll comment back immediately. I'll be so thrilled about it. And like we've said before, we don't have that many suggestions. We don't have any, really. So if you toss us a peep or a predicament, we're going to put it in the jar.
And I mean, the likelihood of that peep or predicament being drawn, pretty good chances.
Yeah, every week those chances are going up because we haven't been adding any in. So please hit us up soon, or we'll just have to change the last topic.
Yes.
We'll have to figure out a new closer. But all jokes aside, let's do this thing.
All right. Yeah, it is time. It's 7:29, so I mean, it's perfectly fine to start now.
Now we're late. Okay. Did you want to draw the peep?
No, you go first peep this time, David.
All right. Well, it's just like the peep this time.
Oh, yeah, that is important. We did change the format.
One peep this time.
Yeah. So the peeps facing off from now on will be predetermined. They've already been matched up with another peep.
And they have some kind of like commonality? They have some kind of common ground.
I'm pretty sure that's a word.
Commonality, is it? Well, we'll have to Google it right now. I got Dr. Strangelove versus Krieger from Archer.
Yes. I'm excited about this.
Two crazy Nazi scientists going head to head. And for Das Franklin.
All right. What are they facing off in first? Let's see. We're going to find out right after these short messages. Who would be most liked by your boss? Their boss, I guess? My boss?
Our bosses?
Do we have a boss for this podcast?
Have
I been... Are there like some emails I'm supposed to check that I haven't been checking?
Geez. We haven't been meeting our sales quotas for sure.
Oh, I for sure have not sold anything on behalf of this podcast.
What? Okay, so let's make a decision right now. Whose boss are we talking about? Are we talking about their bosses? Like each their own boss?
Well, I'll tell you what. Whose handwriting does this look like to you, David?
Who would be most liked by your boss? That looks like Michelle's handwriting.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think you should should we pause for a point of clarification?
Cue the music. I'll be right back. And we're back.
What does it mean, David?
Okay, so the clarification is it's our bosses, which gets into really weird territory for me because I'm technically don't have a boss. I am my own boss, as cheesy as that sounds. As of tomorrow, I will have a boss. And I also
caught you at a weird time.
Play music for a church, so it could be the head pastor of that church, who in a way is also my boss.
Interesting.
So it's like I'm just going to go with the most official, which seems like tomorrow's boss, because that guy's going to be a boss.
Yeah. By the time this comes out, he will be your boss.
Yeah. So my boss is the director of fine arts in an El Paso school district. And from my understanding, he's pretty no nonsense. I mean, I've only met him for the interview, and he's a very friendly guy in the interview. But from other teachers I've heard that he expects things to be... He's a boss with expectations.
I mean, that's not looking good for Krieger.
It's really not. Well, what's your boss situation?
My boss he's a newer boss. Just got a brand spanking new boss. Super cool dude. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, super observant. Doesn't let the nonsense slip by either. I also don't think he would be a fan of Krieger, just like as an employee.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I mean, are they working for them in this situation?
Yeah,
is it just a social gathering?
It's very confusing. Like, yeah, are they at a party and they're trying to figure it out? Or Michelle, we're going to talk about this later. So for Krieger, let's just break it down. Is he liked by his boss?
I mean, no. No. I don't think he's liked by most of his coworkers.
Yeah. Whereas you haven't seen Doctor Strangelove.
I haven't seen it.
So this is also a funny peeping predicament because I've only seen Doctor Strangelove like once, and it was very recent.
Well, David, should we do a quick pause and watch Doctor Strange? No, I'm just kidding.
We'll cue the music for 2.5 hours. Well, in that case, we could shorten the music. But anyways, the point is...
But would it be
authentic.
Real, David?
Yeah, we need to be authentic with our viewers, our listeners. Dr. Strangelove is a Nazi scientist who's like an ex-Nazi, and in the movie Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb, he works for the President of the United States as an advisor in what is like the Cold War.
Okay.
And basically he comes up with, weapons and devices, and he's very similar to Krieger in that they're both old Nazis. They both do kind of unpractical science.
Yeah, things that a sane person wouldn't necessarily do.
He looks crazy. He's also like in a wheelchair the whole movie. And it's a hilarious movie because the main actor, plays 3 different roles in the movie, and Doctor Strangelove's one of them. So, I would say that he is liked by his boss, though, because he does whatever his boss tells him to do. Whereas, I don't know exactly.
Krieger doesn't do most of what is asked of him by Mallory.
Yeah.
Or at least not in the way that was asked.
Yeah, definitely not.
Like, I would say maybe 60 to 70% of the things going on in Krieger's lab, like, were not approved by anyone.
That's an excellent point. Whereas you don't see Strangelove's lab, maybe he is doing weird stuff, but he's definitely someone who follows the rules. And I think, I don't know what he would be doing at Guitar Center or in a school district, but I could see Strangelove.
Well, he might
results.
teach science.
Whoa. I didn't even think about that. And I think he'd be a good science teacher. Everyone would be like a little crazy in the class, but sometimes crazy's a good.
I feel like having a crazy science teacher would just be, amazing.
I think this one's clear, man. It's got to be Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah, and personally, I love Krieger, but that's just because I don't have to work with him.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, which we really need to brush up on this before we go into a new podcast.
I have to write it down somewhere or start.
It's Batman, right? It's still Batman.
It is still Batman.
Yeah.
It's definitely still Batman.
It's definitely Batman. Okay. Batman loses this round. Because Batman doesn't work for anybody. And he's like lone wolf.
Except for justice.
I don't see what your argument with him. He gets results.
He does get the job done. No, but yeah, I definitely see it going to Dr. Strangelove.
Would your boss approve of someone maybe going in an impractical way if they're getting like bomb results?
Possibly.
Because Batman's also super charming. You know what I mean? If he was a salesman, he's going to be selling stuff left and right.
Yeah, but he's never had to work for anybody. Like, he's always been the boss.
That's true.
He was just like the boss's son, and then like became the boss, and then has the side gig going on where he's also his own boss.
He's like double boss.
Yeah. So that's so boss.
That is. All right, well, somehow Dr. Strangelove seems like the best employee. Let's do another predicament.
That'd be an interesting group interview.
We got like a panel of Batman, Krieger, and Strangelove.
Yeah,
that would be an interesting.
It'd make for a very interesting day.
And just to clarify, not Bruce Wayne, but Batman in full costume.
The Batman.
Yeah, the Batman.
The late great Adam West.
Pour one out for my homie.
Right now on the carpet?
Oh no, that's wine. Don't pour that on my carpet.
I thought you were talking to me.
It's red wine too, just to clarify. It's the worst kind of wine you could pour on a carpet.
I thought that was good for carpet.
It gives it a nice rich flavor.
Yeah.
So for our second predicament, we have working together in a room escape.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I wrote this one, and what I meant by was working with a group of people, not like the two of them are working together, but
yeah, because that'd be a weird thing for them to win, because either they both win or they both lose.
Yeah, so it's who could have a better teamwork and work in a room escape. Since you've seen Archer, why don't you argue for? I've seen Archer also, but why don't you argue for Krieger and I'll argue for Strangelove, because I think that would make the most sense in this circumstance.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes Krieger gets results. He also goes an unconventional route most of the time.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of the times the route's just really gross, and a lot of the times also no results, just like hijinks, only hijinks.
To be fair, I feel like most of Archer, they don't get results. Archer does.
But they're not like the A team.
Yeah, they're definitely like a C team
group
of people. That's the humor in the show.
But we from our experience, at least, like, these room escapes are no walk in the park.
They're not.
They were fun, but defeating.
I feel like unconventional thinking, though, might be at the advantage. So maybe Krieger's like totally separate, like, train of thought in the. He's gonna be with a bunch of grounded people, so maybe something he's coming up with might actually happen.
Well, I feel like if you're gonna give points for unconventional thinking, like, being a Nazi is some pretty unconventional thinking. So, like, in both columns.
Yeah, both columns, they kind of have that going.
Yeah, got the kind of Nazi thing going on.
The one thing I have to say against Strangelove, and I apologize if I'm hurting the feelings of any listeners, he's in a wheelchair. And room escapes sometimes are requiring you to go, like, upstairs into small areas.
Underneath the beds.
Like, I don't know if this is necessarily a thing that could be done
in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I would also say that, like, there's the whole thing about Krieger being like a clone from Hitler's DNA.
Oh, that's true.
And I mean, Hitler was super good at escaping. He got out of Germany and made it to whatever South American country he ended up in.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, dude, that's some major points in the Krieger column.
Hmm.
In this case, column's also spelled with a K, the German way.
I feel like I'm kind of leaning towards Krieger in this
in this round, I feel like Krieger has it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Dr. Strangelove being able to pull, because to me, in their Nazi scientist minds, both are pretty even. They're both like pretty smart guys, even though Strangelove seems maybe more directed than Krieger is. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to be a benefit in a room escape. Like, to have someone who's thinking along with everyone else, or have someone who's like on a totally different train of thought and maybe going across it in a just very different way.
No, I feel like definitely having somebody thinking about it from a different angle would be super beneficial. Like, I feel like it's really easy for everybody to get on a track, and then you're just like, everything on your side is, you're just blind to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of the mistakes that we made were like exactly that. We got hung up on one thing.
Yeah, we were both thinking about it the same way.
Yeah.
Well, I'm comfortable going with Krieger if you are.
Oh yeah, totally giving it to Krieger on this one. All right,
the Kriegs. So, are we pulling out another predicament then?
Yeah, and I think we've had like 3 ties in a row, I think.
Yeah, this has been happening a lot, which I guess is better than just like sweeping it. But here's the thing that's not arguable at all. Batman's going to be the best guy to work in a room escape with.
Well, I mean, yeah, I hate voting for Batman, but
he's the world's greatest detective.
He's going to figure it out real quick.
Yeah, like he's going to be like, the key's right there. And then you don't have to solve anything. You just have something in his utility belt to get you out of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be really hard to unthrone Batman.
He had a little button on his belt, and the Batmobile will come crashing through the wall.
All right. You want to read this one? I'm going to try and toss it at you.
Toss it at me. I'm just pulling a knot out of my beard. I lost it, David. I don't know where
beard knot. There it is. You got it.
I have discovered it. And I'm unfolding it.
Oh, gosh.
It just says paternity hearing. So, like, who's the father?
Or maybe, like, who would be best at convincing someone they're the father?
Interesting.
Like, who would do the best in their paternity? Can I see that one? Who wrote that? It's gotta be George.
No.
It's Michelle again.
Yes.
I don't think she understood exactly what we were asking for here.
I'd love it, though. I had so much fun reading both of those both times.
Okay, let's just make the call on this one. Let's say that they're each in a paternity hearing.
They're in their own individual paternity hearing.
Who's gonna pull it off?
Well, what's the end game? Are they trying to get out of it, or are they trying to get into it?
Let's just say they're trying to get what they want.
Okay. Out of getting what they want out of their paternity hearing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
These are 2 guys you wouldn't expect to be in a paternity hearing either.
And I'm not even sure which way Krieger would go.
Yeah, would he want?
Like, I feel like part of him would want to shirk the responsibility, but then there's a whole thing about his bloodline that he'd be super into.
Yeah.
But who would he be in court with? His holographic, like, anime wife?
I forgot about that whole thing. Because, like, Archer's been hopping around so much.
Yeah.
I feel like Krieger would have the defense to back him up. Like, if he's trying to, like, do something for himself, He's gonna go through the steps to.
Oh, and I'm sure he'd be really good at finding every loophole.
Oh yeah. Dr. Strangelove.
Tell me about him, David.
He's so old. I don't see him wanting to have a child.
But he was also used to be a Nazi. There's the whole bloodline thing.
That's true. It's just so hard to say because the movie is like, I mean, you only see this character for a little while, whereas Archer, you see him for a long time. You get a very good idea of what you think he would like. And,
Interesting. Very interesting.
You know what? Just, I feel like Strangelove, he's crazy, first off. Like, the way he talks is crazy. Whereas I think Krieger could pull off being sane longer.
Like, just fake it?
Yeah. Because when you hear him talk, it's not like he sounds like an insane person. It's like what he says is crazy.
Exactly.
Whereas Dr. Strangelove... It's
the content now.
You hear him talk and you're like, well, this guy's insane.
Oh, that's what a mad scientist looks like.
That's what he is. He's a mad scientist. I mean, I love the movie. It's fantastic, and he's an awesome character, but...
I mean, I really want to watch it from what I've heard.
You need to. Like, it's really good.
I'm really bad about just, like, not watching movies that I want to see.
Well, I mean, there's so many movies.
There's so many of them.
And there's only a finite amount of time on this earth.
Yeah.
But make room for Dr. Strangelove. That's a good one. I'll own it to you, and we'll talk about it on the podcast. Well, that
we
case,
just got a segment out of the way right now. Look how easy this is.
Next week, we're talking Dr. Strangelove. Well, if you watch it, I want to watch it again. But anyways, this is besides the point. I think because I'm sort of making the call since I've seen both of them, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, it's something as serious as the tiebreaker. This one's for the win.
I gotta say,
you're the most informed. You got to make the call.
It's Krieger. I mean, they're very similar characters, which is why we tied them together. But I just think Krieger's delivery, especially in this hearing case, he has the option of going either way he wants. I think he could pull off getting the kid. I think he could pull off being crazy enough that they would never give him a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Strangelove, I only see it going to the latter. I don't see him being able to make an argument for it.
Like, Strangelove's for sure losing the kid.
Yeah. And if that's what he's going for, then he wins. But Krieger's got all of his bases covered. I think he can maintain his composure long enough that he could pull it off. So,
definitely.
Now, what about Batman?
That's very interesting. I say Batman would definitely want the kid first off.
Yeah, I think he would.
Got the whole dad thing going on. I don't know if you've heard about his issues with his father.
What's up with Batman's dad? I never heard about that.
Super dead.
What?
He's so dead.
I never heard him talk about that.
He was just really bad at leaving movies.
He picks dangerous routes home. They really needed Google Maps back then.
He goes to really nice operas and very bad neighborhoods.
Yeah, right? How weird. You know what I mean? And I think it's because that scene has been shown in every iteration of Batman ever, that it plugs more and more holes into it. But it's like you're in this upscale neighborhood, you're dressed to the nines, quite literally, and it's like you're super rich, you're rich, and you're deciding to go down this dark alley.
But the criminals being in the nice part of town makes sense though, because you don't if you're just mugging people, you're not gonna mug the poor people you live next to. You're gonna go to the rich part of town and mug those people.
I mean, it makes sense. It's just such a dramatic turn in setting.
It so is. It really is.
Yeah,
it so
is. But it's also a billionaire wouldn't walk down an alleyway after an opera.
No, a really nice car picks him up right in front.
Alfred's there driving their stretch limo back to the Maine Manor. Batman in some different universes. I mean, because that's the thing about comic books. There's so many timelines and storylines. There is a Son of Batman movie. I haven't seen that one yet. It's an animated movie about his son. He trains him to be the next Batman. I'm assuming.
Does he have to go to court for custody for him?
We need to watch that movie because that might be the defining the defining word on this.
The answers might be on record already.
Spoiler alerts for Batman Beyond for the one person who's interested but hasn't watched Batman Beyond. I recently finished Batman Beyond after years and years. I saw it as a child. The show is 3 seasons. It ends, and then there's really no ending. But it turns out, if you watched Justice League, the animated series, there's an episode that was made because the same people worked on both shows. They made an episode as the ending of Batman Beyond on purpose, and like because they felt like they didn't have a cap to the end of that series.
Yeah, something to just tie it all off.
So you find out that Terry McGinnis, the Batman of the future, is actually Bruce Wayne's son. And that it was done through like genetic trickery. But it wasn't Bruce Wayne who did it. It was like this lady who worked for some genetic lab.
And they stole his genes?
Yeah. She realized that the world needed another Batman. So she like took the precautions to like find
smart.
It
You gotta have a spare.
Batman.
What if your Batman breaks?
For reals. I mean, and Bane did it. So, hey, zing.
Shots fired, Batman.
Sorry. The point I'm trying to get at, though, is Batman's totally open to having a son. And, like, the lineage thing, he needs someone to follow in his footsteps.
He really does.
Like, he's got Dick Grayson and all that, but...
And, I mean, he could probably pay for the best lawyers.
And Dick Grayson is his kid, isn't it? Like, he adopts Robin. I mean,
sure.
If you're following the Lego Batman storyline, he definitely adopts Robin.
I still haven't seen Lego Batman, another movie I want to see and haven't watched.
Next week on the podcast, Lego Batman and Doctor Strangelove. I mean, I know it's not nice, but if you're okay with it, dude, it's got to be Batman. He's just such a convincing person. He's got the charm of Bruce Wayne. He's got, like, unlimited financial resources for the best lawyers. He's got the science aspect. He's an all-around awesome... And then if they don't give him the kid, he can just go and beat up whoever won the kid and take him.
I mean, that's true. He is down for the vigilante justice.
Right. He wouldn't kill him, but he'd just beat him up and make him do it.
Just make him hurt real bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really hoping Batman would get dethroned this week. Imagine if Krieger was reigning champ. That would have been so fun.
That would have been cool, but Batman
Instead, we
is a
saw
superhero.
stupid Batman.
Frank's favorite superhero.
The worst. He's so bad at being a superhero. He's not even a superhero.
I'm gonna like put it on the chalkboard like weeks since Batman is reigning champ. It's gonna get to like 79 or something ridiculous.
Oh boy,
Batman's just the man.
If I put any more suggestions in the jar, they're all gonna be like, who could beat Batman at just everything?
Good luck. It's not Superman. Oh hey.
Oh boy. Well, that was a Peeps and Predicts. Batman won again. I hope you're happy, David.
I'm very happy.
You're happy.
If you, the listener, can find someone who can beat Batman, we'll send you a T-shirt. Now, I'm going to be clear. We don't have T-shirts to say we did a podcast, but we'll go to like Walmart
merch.
And we'll like find a shirt and we'll buy it and we'll send it to you.
Send us your shirt size along with the comment and your suggestion, and we'll go grab you a shirt. It'll be real nice.
It'll be a Batman shirt.
It'll be a nice shirt.
We'll figure it out. We'll get you a nice button up, get you out of that rut. Just send us
just send us the suggestion, take the shirt, get yourself out of that rut.
Well, I mean, anyone that can beat Batman, I'm curious. Even put a little bit of your argument so we can understand where you're coming from, because I don't see it happening.
Oh boy, I really hope that's not the case, but we'll see. Hopefully we have like one day Batman's still reigning champ, and the predicament they're in is like a father-son three-legged race.
Oh my gosh, the one thing that could defeat
I mean, Batman. I'm just gonna throw that in there.
Who would be
That's
the best
gonna be
member?
My Batman kryptonite for Peeps and Predicts.
Who would be the most productive member of the Justice League or something?
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
I mean, I had fun, David.
I did too. So just one more little plug.
Plug it.
Check us out. We did a podcast at gmail.com. We'd love to get your feedback.
Check it out.
Like, share, subscribe at youtube.com/wedidapodcast.
Do it.
And like us on Facebook at wedidapodcast.com. I'll put up a Batman meme today.
Please. Please just do it.
Please. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Get out of here.